Yo, what's going on, Honkai Star Rail peeps? Welcome back to another video. So I've been reading a number of comments with regards to Break Effect Silverwolf, and a lot of you guys have been confused about how the quantum delayed effect works. How are you doing so much damage? I'm not doing that damage. Or why isn't the damage the same on all the enemies I put the entanglement on? It's not working for me. Like I've seen so many comments where people are just, they don't get the intricate depth of quantum element. And you know what? You should be confused, because this game does a piss poor job of explaining to you exactly how this thing works. It gives you the most generalized explanation and leaves out all of the formula. It leaves out it only specifies like a few variables when there's like much more variables. I'll go ahead and go into the definition inside of the game so you can see what I'm talking about, but you should be confused because all of the information that I acquire is either through my own testing or from a third-party website, which is honestly quite horrible. And I would honestly argue that 75% of the player base doesn't understand any of this stuff on this kind of level. It's kind of crazy. But then again, most of it really is only significant when you're doing Memory of Chaos, the hardest content in the game. Hopefully after you watch this video, guys, you'll have a vivid clarity as to how the quantum delayed effect works. And you should. I do a pretty good job explaining things. Let's get it. All right, so let's go ahead and hover over here to the weakness break quantum definition. It says using quantum attacks to inflict weakness break will deal quantum damage and cause entanglement, which delays the enemy's action and at the start of the next turn deals additional quantum damage to the affected enemy. When the enemy is hit, this additional damage will increase. See, just a very generalized explanation for it. I actually wrote down all the influences that are going to increase your quantum dot damage, okay? So the variables that influence quantum delayed effect damage: break effect percentage, which obviously that's why I've been telling you to build break effect. Level of your character, just like elemental reactions worth in Genshin Impact, the higher the level of your character, the bigger the multiplier. I've explained this in previous videos. Total toughness of the enemy. This is one I actually didn't know at one point as well. I thought it was just like any other multiplier in this game, whereas if the enemy shield is down, then it's just a 0.9. If the enemy shield is up, then it's a 1.0 multiplier. But this is actually completely different and completely exclusive to the quantum element in particular. The quantum element deals damage based off the max toughness of the enemies you're up against, and every enemy has a good degree of toughness, and most importantly, they differentiate with the amount of toughness that they have. So, and we will get into that so that you guys understand what I mean by that. The next variable: number of quantum stacks before triggering the delayed effect. So you build quantum stacks up when you put them in the entangled phase by attacking the enemy, and we'll go into that as well. We're going to go into battle so that you can understand that. Finally, the last two variables are going to be the walls that knock your damage down, the defense multiplier of the enemy, and the enemy resistance to the quantum element. And this is why Silverwolf is such a force to be reckoned with, because her kit literally gets rid of their resistance to elements. It gets rid of their defense, and then you build the break effect and you take her to 80. She does the rest, you know, so that's why she's so good with it. But let's go into the details further so that you understand exactly how it works. The first thing I want to show you guys that I think will be incredibly helpful is this right here. You can go to honkaistarrailfandom.com. You literally can copy this entire thing if you want to. You know what? I'll leave it down below in the description. You can come here and literally look at all the toughness values of every single enemy in the game. The Ebon Deer on floor 6 of Memory of Chaos has 420 toughness. Anti-Baron, literally go to anybody. You can go to Bronya, the boss, 210 toughness. But these are the values that are going to determine how much damage you're going to deal with your quantum element. I'm not going to get into all the mathematics. I know I normally do, but you guys don't need to know that shit. You just need to know you'll deal more damage the higher their toughness value is. Now, another thing that's worth mentioning, speaking of the formulas, there's two different formulas. There's a formula for your initial break damage, the damage you're going to deal upon breaking their shield. And then there's a formula for the delayed effect. How much damage are you going to deal with that delayed effect? This is literally the formula right here: 0.6 times stat count times level multiplier times max toughness of the target. And then over here, it'll tell you the delayed action value is a base of 20 times however much break effect percentage you have. Applies 1 stack when the entangled target is hit. So this is literally the entire formula right here. Now, let's go ahead and go into battle so you guys could see, you know, the intricate details in more detail. All right, so this guy right here, let's go ahead and start the quantum entanglement lesson here. Obviously, our goal is to first apply quantum dot to his head. So let's go ahead and do that first. I gotta be careful because he's gonna take a ridiculous amount of damage from any of my characters. He's level 60. He's like I'm way overqualified for this level. We're gonna apply the quantum dot to his head. Boom. Okay, so he's now got the quantum dot in his head. So now our goal is just to make sure we break his shield with Silver Wolf. You have to, rule number 1, break their shield with the quantum character. You have to. That's otherwise everything's completely useless. Okay, here we go. Boom, perfect. All right, we'll just do an auto attack right here. And that's enough. One thing I will complain about, I wish there was a numerical value up here. I'll probably make a video about this, but the numerical value would allow me to know exactly how much toughness remains on this guy to ensure that I am triggering the shield break with my quantum character. But what we're going to do now is we're going to hit her ult, and she will actually not look. See, this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Because I don't know his numerical value, I actually just whiffed breaking his shield with Silver Wolf, which actually pisses me off. That's okay though. That's why I want you guys to watch this so that you can learn exactly how these things work. I'm going to miss attack. I'm not going to attack him with her because I have to land this with Silver Wolf for the sake of the video. And I'm not going to attack him with her either. Okay, now Silver Wolf is up. We are now going to break his shield with her, and it's going to delay his turn drastically. All right, so he took 13,000 on the head. So here's the important part. You see he has 1 quantum stack up there. This is applied as soon as you break their shield with a quantum character. They're going to have a stack on their head. Now, at this point, you see that little effect he has on him too. That's the effect that he has now been entangled, which, by the way, I think that's a dumbass name. And the reason I say that is because quantum is more akin to the void. It would have made much more sense if they said he is now in the void, but they call it entangled. From a void, a dark element, like what? Anyways, that's getting off topic. From here on out, once they look like that, once they are entangled, any damage they receive from anybody on your team, that's gonna apply a stack to their head. So if I attack him with Ting Yun, blop, blop, that's 2 stacks on his head. You see that? If I attack him with Jing Yuan, he's about to die, unfortunately. I'm way too strong. Blop, blop, that's 3 stacks on his head. When I continue to attack him with 2 more attacks, even ults apply as well. If you attack him with 2 ults, you know, if you attack anything, it literally does not matter. It will apply a stack to their head, and they can only reach 5 stacks. They cannot go past any more than 5 maximum stacks. And that is the goal that you want to go for, obviously, with Silver Wolf, which is also why Break Effect Silver Wolf is so broken, because the delayed effect is increased by your break effect percentage. And when you have a ridiculously large amount of break effect percentage on Silver Wolf, it makes her delay them significantly more than not having break effect percentage on them. What I'm trying to say here is, if they get delayed drastically, it makes it so much easier for you to apply stacks on their head, because they can't go. So you go, then your team goes, and then sometimes they're so slow, y'all go 2 times before they get a chance to go. So it makes it so much easier to apply those quantum stacks. But you have to have 5 stacks, or I'm not gonna say you have to have, you need to have, ideally, 5 stacks on their head before the dot triggers. Because, and by the way, when does the dot trigger? That's another thing to answer. The dot triggers the next time their turn goes after being entangled. So that's also why you want to delay them as much as possible, because you want to get those 5 stacks in before they go again and take the maximum quantum damage. So to clear up any confusion one more time, quantum characters, when you break an enemy shield with a quantum character, they apply a delayed entanglement effect on this enemy. Your job through this process is to apply 5 stacks of quantum. Now, that's the goal. Sometimes you won't do it because some people recover a little bit quicker because they're faster, or whatever the case may be. Your goal, though, is to apply 5 stacks of quantum before that enemy's turn comes up again, because once it comes up again, the delayed effect damage is going to trigger right then and there. So your goal is to just apply 5 stacks. How do you apply the stacks? You just hit them with anybody. You hit them with their ult, you hit them with skill, basic attack. As long as they're taking damage while they're in that entangled state, they are going to take, they're going to build stacks, and then they're going to take a ridiculous amount of damage with the quantum dot. And then the last thing to mention, again, I'd like to reiterate, the max toughness value of the enemy affects how much damage you're doing. So if you're going against a little peasant, like a little, I don't know, a little soldier, they only have like 60 freaking toughness or something. Whereas if you go against an elite, they got like 300, 360, 420. They take way more damage, which is why the break effect is so much more significant in the hardest content in the game, because most of those elites have a ridiculous amount of shield. I think the lowest shield value of the elite is 300. Like all of them are 300 minimum or higher. So Silver Wolf does a ridiculous amount of damage to all of them because of that. Hopefully this video helped you out with any confusion you had. As always, I hope I brought you some value. Y'all take care, and I'll catch you on the flip side.